So hello and welcome to our Retention Club interview series. I'm Margot, head of content at Addictive. At Addictive, we fuel the app ecosystem by inspiring users to engage with the apps they know and love. Specializing in user retention, we grow in-app revenue and build user loyalty with custom retargeting and churn prediction campaigns. The Retention Club brings together players in the app universe to share and learn about all topics related to user retention. So I'm pleased to introduce Harut Amirkhanyan. He's General Manager and Director of Growth Marketing at Appvertiser. So Harut, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up at Appvertiser?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. Thank you for your invitation. First, it's great, a pleasure to be here. My name is Harut. I am right now the Director of Growth Marketing in Appvertiser. I started my journey, I can say, 15 years ago when I started to touching the gaming. And at the beginning, I tried to build my games. And I started at that time. It was very easy. When I built my first games, I was able to bring a lot of downloads, but I don't understand how to generate the revenue. Then in the next step, when I start to understanding the revenue part, I start to tackling the growth. And in that time, I start to facing with a lot of problems. And I understand that I need more knowledge, and I decided to start working on the gaming companies. And I start with one local companies in Armenia, the Christmas games. Basically, I built everything from scratch there, and we built the marketing department there. We was able to bring in a lot of downloads, like millions of in the month. After that, I understand that I have some limitation because when we are working in one company, your knowledge starting to be limited in one phase, I can say. And I decided to start working with Appvertiser. I was one of the first employee in Appvertiser at the time when it was founded. And yeah, the good beauty of Appvertiser was because you are working with a lot of companies, can be gaming, can be apps. You are starting to learn a lot. Maybe I can say maybe during 3-4 months, I get maybe some learnings for 5 years because there is a bunch of stuff coming from outside, from everywhere, some strategy, new channels and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And so you seem to have a lot of experience across both the building side of an app and also learning the retention side. So it's perfect you're here because I think that's what a lot of people who we were trying to speak to about retention, that's what they want to know is how do you move from the downloads to actually maintaining an active user base. So you've worked with a lot of different companies at all different stages of their kind of journey. So small, medium, large, all of them. But what are some of the common hurdles that they all face, whether they're just launching their app or they're trying to scale and retain and focus on retention?
Yeah, I can say it's a different if it's a small app or the game at the beginning or if you are in the scaling. Because when you are just starting, for you, the problem is understand where to start, which strategy you need to take, which bucket of the channel you need to start your marketing. And also I can say one of the main problem what we are seeing with the clients, it's setting up right attribution, track the right user data. This is because essential. If it will not be in place, you will face a lot of problems. And if it's correct, basically it's guaranteed for success for you. But if we are talking about the scenarios where the big clients and the guys, they already have the skill and they want to have more the users or have good retention, I can say in that case, it's maintaining the current ROI, but in the same time, it's bring the growth. In that case, you need to try a lot of different types of things. You need to tackle a lot of unexpected channels, I can say, or some strategy which will help you to hack the system, basically. And also, in the same times, what you are using, you need to be able to scale.
Mm-hmm. And so, when you're working with a company that is trying out, user retention or wants to get started with whether it's retargeting or other forms of re-engagement, how do you kind of explain the balance between or the relationship between acquisition and retention? And why do you think that more and more app marketers are more interested in retention?
If you're talking about just bringing the user, yes, it's good if you are focusing on the growth and if you want to grow. But from another aspect, it's very crucial for you to be able to keep these users because in the long term, it will help you to grow. And for that reason, what we are basically suggesting, like everyone, it's starting to understanding your funnel inside of your game or your app. You need to measure like how everything is going. I can bring one good example here. Like we start working with one game, and we bring a lot of user with very low CPI. Like they start having a lot of people. But when this user entered to the game, we noticed that only like 30% of this user was able like to launch the first game, and we noticing that there was a problem in the funnel, and the user was not able like to find the play button easily because there was some UX problem. This is one of the good example I can say. You need to start at the beginning. You need to understand what is bringing the drop, and funnel by funnel you need to optimize and try to keep your retention up. Because why? Because the retaining user also compared with the just new users, they have higher LTV. They already stick to you. And if you're talking more about the game, like the game users, they can also bring you new users because they can affect on other people's, and they are trying to create some groups and inflating to others.
We've noticed that this has become more and more of a topic, even for maybe verticals that didn't consider it before, who were kind of just very much more concerned with pure user acquisition. But what we're finding is that a lot of these apps really need to establish a healthy retention curve in order to, thrive. You gave us a couple of good strategies. Do you have any other strategies that you would suggest for apps that are just getting started with user retention?
What I can say at the beginning, you need to have good understanding of your user base. You need to track your retention user and understand those behavior, because basically the behavior of the retained user can be totally different. And I can say the behavior of the retained user is exactly what you need, because this user already stick. They can give you the right signals compared with the new users. And LTV curve also for this user is also the different. There is a couple of things that we are using. Basically, it's a push notification that you can launch to bring this user back. You can focus more on your content, because for these types of user, you need to engage them with the new contents. Like, I don't know, for the games, they can be some seasonal contents, or maybe you have some new characters you have added. It can be very interesting for them. If from another perspective, it's a re-engagement or retargeting types of campaigns, which helping a lot, because you can target this user, you can bring them back, and you will keep your curve over LTV higher and retention also in the same time. And basically, when we are launching these types of campaign, we are noticing like how the revenue is significantly, so it's growing. It's directly correlated with the revenue.
I'm curious too. So do you also kind of see a holistic relationship to, push, CRM, programmatic retargeting, do you see them all kind of working together to achieve one goal rather than kind of separate? Because something we've seen a lot too is that a lot of companies have very siloed marketing teams. So you have, someone who's dealing only with push or CRM, only programmatic. So do you see kind of a shift towards a more holistic approach?
Yes, of course. I think it's better if you have some combined strategy, because you can tackle it from the different angles. Yeah, push notification, it's very good. But the problem with the push notification, you are not able to show them the content. But in the same time, if you are launching the campaigns, like with retargeting or engagement, you are showing them what is in your game. Sometimes the people can have a problem. They will turn off your push notifications. But if you are launching them together, it's helping boosting your retained user coming back. So another thing that we are noticing, this is more like for the big studios or publisher where they have a couple of games, you can also launch the cross promo campaigns where you can start to showing some your new content from other games, and you can bring your users also back to there. Basically, it's more complex, and it's better to go there. You need to have better, I can say, analytical and attribution system to be able to measure and understand all this, because it needs to be also personalized per user. This is also, I think, the beauty of this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to go back then to, you mentioned attribution earlier, and I know that privacy constraints have heavily impacted kind of everything across the board, but mostly attribution. So do you have any recommendations for how marketers can manage the challenge of limited attribution or lack of visibility, let's say?
Yeah, of course. Right now, what basically we are suggesting to our clients, try to focus more on first party data, try to build strong first party things, and try to have your custom maybe attribution system in parallel with the third party attribution also, because it will help you get more the data. Also, another important point is to send the user the right signals at the beginning for them to understand why you are using those data. One of the good example, like to trying to keep your ATT rate higher as much as is possible, because it will start giving you more signals. What does it mean? Basically, when you are just launching the game, you need to explain the user why you need this data. One of the good example I can say it's Facebook or some big games where they are when they're just launching and they are telling guys, you need to share this data because you are keeping our businesses going, you are keeping our game, I don't know, free of ads, for example, or I don't know, like basically it's not the paid version, it's a free version. They are explaining it, and a lot of users is understanding. And basically, you need to show this message before, like you will show the native ATT prompt from Apple. It's helping a lot. When we start to implement this kind of tactics, it's helping a lot, like to increase the ATT rate. And it's helping you in your measurement, because basically if you want to do retargeting, you need to understand user level data. You need to know like IDFA, IDFV for this user to be able to do right matching. Even if you have 20%, or in some cases we are having like 50% of the information, it's enough for you to affect other people's too. Like,
yeah, and I have a question, like kind of a follow-up question about iOS too. Do you know off the top of your head how many apps that you're working with are actively testing out like the iOS environment for retargeting or even UA? Because I know that things are starting to improve. Opt-in rates are rising. I'm wondering if you have any stats on that or information on that from Appvertiser's side.
Yeah, of course. I can say definitely for the games, this start increasing, because the game they're much more open, like to ask or show this kind of stuff. But when we are talking about apps, like they are a little bit problematic, I can say, because they don't want to show this information to the user. They don't want them to see that if they are collecting the data from them. But I can say everyone is understanding they need to go through this direction, because this direction is not only affecting on your attribution side, it also can affect on the monetization. Because let's bring one example. If you are the game or the app where you have heavy ad monetization, ad driven monetization, basically if you are not asking or you are not having the full information about the user, your CPM also starting to go down. That's why a lot of people starting to understand and noticing it, and we are seeing that this number is growing. Yeah, it's not 100%. I can say it's for us, it's maybe 50% of our clients, like in all portfolio, they are understanding and they already applied. But from the gaming, it's big. I can say maybe close 80% of the game studio, they already implemented it and happy to move also forward.
I mean, it's a known fact that iOS users have much higher ARPU than like Android users on average. So it's worth it to check out if this is going to be a good strategy. And so besides that, you mentioned that's something that kind of other apps should probably take from the gaming industry. Do you have any other lessons that apps maybe in e-commerce or entertainment can kind of learn from gaming? Because gaming is usually at the forefront of these things.
Yes, of course. The beauty of the gaming, I can say, because they are very focused on the user and they are trying to make the user experience perfect compare like all the apps. Because the games is all about like users be sticky, stay longer. They should like enjoy atmosphere in the game. It's bringing people in the gaming industry to work more on this aspect. And we starting to noticing also the good trend from apps. They are starting to taking some kind of features from the gamings to the apps, and they are starting to gamify like some kind of aspect. And for sure, it's helping to increase the retention. It's directly affecting on this. We saw even some little, they are trying to bring some kind of mini games or mini apps like from the gaming stuff. It's helping like user to stay longer, for sure.
I'm a little curious about whether people are going to get tired of everything being gamified. But I don't know. I think it remains to be seen, because for now it's going like gangbusters, it's working very well. But I'm curious if there will be some kind of fatigue in education apps or health apps. Like, okay, it's enough. I just want to book a doctor's appointment or whatever. It is something I'm curious about because it's kind of fascinating how everything is becoming a game now.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because it's not only I can say they are starting to pushing on the game angle, they are starting to bring the game inside of them. One of the good example it's in Netflix. They open the new section, the games they start to bring it. Like, the gaming is driving much revenue. Everyone is understanding, and also the people is sticky. Like there is a game that people can stay hours. Like if you are comparing it with the apps, it's not easy to have this kind of like session length engagement. Only maybe the social app it's making. By adding the game elements, you are basically increasing your session times per user. It's directly affecting on the retention on the
Yeah, it's kind of
LTV.
amazing. I'm super curious about that trend, especially in dating apps. I think it's really interesting.